Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us on this sunny day here in Michigan. We have Evan McGuffey with ComTrack. This is a new software to help keep track of all your commissions. He's going to go over a demo here. Feel free to put any questions in the comments, and then we'll get to a Q&A at the end. So, Evan, thank you so much. Please take it away.
Absolutely. No, thank you for having me, Miranda. Pleasure to meet everybody. I don't see any of your faces, but I'm just going to assume you could see mine, which is most important. And yeah, so ComTrack is the commission tracker that I wish existed when I was an agent. Just so everybody knows, I have about 200-300 clients on the books. Do I service them anymore? No, but I got started as an agent. And ComTrack was built out of necessity rather than me getting really fascinated with commissions and wanting to build something like that. So it's just because there wasn't a program out there that would just grab all my statements from all the carrier portals, aggregate them, and then track everything efficiently. So that's what ComTrack will do. So I'll run you guys through it. I'll share my screen in a second. If anybody has any questions, you can chime in or just throw a question in the in the chat, and we'll take it from there. All right, so here we go. Let's see. All right, so this is what ComTrack looks like the first time that you guys open it up. It's built on Excel, looks like Excel, feels like Excel. It is Excel. So there's two core fundamental parts. ComTrack's built on Excel, and we have the carriers pre-mapped. What we mean by that is ComTrack is pre-programmed to handle and to recognize the statements from over 180 different carriers, okay? We have a list of all those carriers on our website here, comtrack.io. And I suppose I should probably put that in the chat just in case somebody wants to follow along. So there it is. So we have 180 carriers that ComTrack is pre-programmed to handle, ranging from Med Advantage, Med Sup, ACA, Ancillary, Life. We even handle annuities as well. All right. We also handle FMOs. So if AEG or any other entity ever gives you a statement, we can handle those as well. Right. So as a user inside ComTrack, just to start off, you just need your statements downloaded from the carriers. All right. I have this folder on my computer called 2024 Demo Commissions. And inside of this folder, I have a bunch of statements downloaded from the carrier portals. And I have them organized in various subfolders, and that's totally normal, right? You could have a subfolder labeled by an agent, by your name. Could have it labeled by month, by the carrier, doesn't matter, right? And in any subfolder, I can have a bunch of statements from all over the place, right? United, Humana, Cigna, so on and so forth. It's totally normal and it's okay to rename the files. Just don't alter any of the data within the files before you upload them, all right? So as a user, I can choose to drag over a single file. I could choose to drag over a folder and it would grab all the files inside of that. Or I could even drag over the master folder and it would grab all the files inside of that, all right? So that's exactly what I'm gonna do here. Inside ComTrack, we just have this little upload thing where we hit File Manager. Thin disk is our upload folder, so that's our destination. And what I'm going to do is I simply just drag over and drop, and now all my files are being uploaded here on the bottom left-hand side. So we'll give it a second and allow those guys to go. Good deal. I just want to delete one of them. There's one that we don't need. Cool. And then inside of ComTrack, the term that we use is digest. Basically, ComTrack's going to analyze all the statements. You can either hit the digest button or just simply click Control-D. And the first thing that ComTrack does is it looks at all those files that you uploaded and looks for duplicates because it knows that you probably don't want to digest the same file twice or 3 times accidentally. So it's basically just telling me, hey, you have 3 copies of this file. You have 3 copies of this CHP file. What do you want to do with them? I can skip all of them or process one of each. In this case, I'm going to process one of each. So ComTrack's going in, it's looking at all the statements, it's recognizing all the statements from each one of the carriers, and it's mapping all the data into one nice uniform format on the bottom here. All right, so that's going to lie on the all-time tab. We're in settings. Settings is kind of your home base. It's where most of your operations are going to come from. And all-time is where all of our data is going to lie. So 20 files were successfully digested by ComTrack. The following files are not digested. If ComTrack can't recognize a file, it'll tell you so that you don't think that the data got processed. So DS store is a file that gets added when you drag over a folder from a MacBook. Who cares? We don't need to digest that one anyway. Foresters only gives us a PDF, okay? So some carriers will give you the option between downloading your commission statement as an Excel or a PDF file. And you always want to choose Excel or CSV. CSV is just another spreadsheet file. There are some carriers that will only give you a PDF, okay? And we can handle those. We just have to convert them first. So on our website, we have this handy, free, you don't even need an account, totally free, unlimited use, PDF to Excel converter. And it lists the carriers that only give you a PDF statement, right? Foresters being one of them. There's also this list over here, which may or may not apply to you. All right, you might have one or two carriers in here. So if you have one of these PDFs, you just convert them first, and then ComTrack can read that converted file. All right. So I'd have to do that for all these foresters. I'm gonna hit OK. Some data got placed over here. We'll come back to this in a minute. But inside of all time, this is where all of our data got aggregated into one nice uniform format across all your carriers. So we can see that in column A, we have agent name, we have carrier, we have agent ID, and agent NPN. And I'm gonna slow down for a second. So we're looking at some Cigna Med Advantage. I want to show you what it looks like across multiple carriers. So if I scroll down a little bit, I got some Cigna Med Advantage, I got some Central Health Plan, and I got some United Healthcare Med Advantage, just so you can see what it looks like across carriers. And what you'll notice is that not every carrier supplies every data point, right? Not every statement has all of the data points. So on Central Health Plan, evidently, they don't provide the agent ID on that statement. So it's blank, right? United Healthcare doesn't provide the agent NPN. That's okay. You'll just see some blanks here and there, and that's what that is. We have payment period, which is just the month and year of coverage, also known as statement date. You have the client full name, nice and pretty for you guys. If you've ever taken the time to look at commission statements, you'll notice that the carriers love to format names completely differently, right? All caps, last name, comma, first, middle, whatever it might be. We will iron it out and make it nice and uniform for you. So client full name, and then we break it up, client first, middle, and last. We give you carrier member ID and policy number. Some carriers will give you one, some will give you the other, some will give you both. So we provide both here. We have effective date, duration months. This is the number of months between the effective date and today. So it's cool to see your policies in terms of how long they've been on the books, in terms of months. Prior plan, a couple carriers, WellCare, to their credit, right? They did do something right, and they will put in the prior plan on the statement date. No, not on the statement date, on the statement itself. So on each row, it'll say no or none. Sometimes they'll say yes. But more importantly, if it says no or none under prior plan, that means that the client didn't have any prior plan, so it's probably new to Medicare. So very helpful there. Wish more carriers did that. Termination date. A couple carriers are weird, and they'll put the term date as something off into the distant future. Even if it's an active policy, why they do that, I don't know. Cigna apparently does that. It is what it is. Termination reason, couple carriers will give you the term reason. United Healthcare being one of them. We love United Healthcare for that. So they'll tell you if the client died, if the client moved, if they got flipped, so on and so forth. I wish more carriers did this, but it's United and a couple others will do this. We have line and subline. Line, think of as like category. So it's either going to be life or health. And then subline, think of it like subcategory. So if it's health, that'll show Med Advantage, PDP, Med Sup, ACA, or ancillary. Okay, we can handle all of those. And under life, if you guys ever want to digest your life commissions, it'll show whole, term, or universal. Right. Plan type is whatever the carrier puts on the statement. It's usually like HMO, PPO, DSNP, that kind of thing. The name of the plan, contract number, PBP, just relevant for Medicare Advantage. You have the member state and member county and premium. This is going to be a lot of zeros for Medicare Advantage. Agent split, not relevant to Med Advantage, but Med Sup and Life happens very rarely, but you can put two agents on the same policy. and the carrier will pay them independently. If that happens, it'll be on the column here. Comp rate, usually a percentage of premium. It'll look something like this, right? Lives, this is really just an ACA metric. It's also used in group, but number of people in the household or number of lives on the policy. Right? And then finally, everyone, we have commission, which is the dollar amount that was received, right? Now, these next two columns are really handy, and they work together. We have expected commission, and reconcile. And what ComTrack's going to do is it's going to place in your expected commission and then show you if you ever got underpaid, right? So we have a button that'll fill this out for you across all rows. I just want to show you what it's going to look like. So for example, it'll place in your expected let's just say it's 30, and then it's going to calculate the difference. So say you got paid $25.50, you expected 30. The difference between the two is negative $4.50, indicating that you got underpaid. It'll show you if you got overpaid too. And surprisingly enough, that happens. So it shows you that you got overpaid, it'll look green, and it'll look something like that. And if you got paid the correct exact amount, it'll just show 0, meaning that you got paid right on the ball. All right. So I'll explain and I'll demonstrate this being filled out across all your rows in a little bit, but just to give you a little preview, that's what these columns are going to look like. All right, a couple more. Let me just sort this guy. Okay, so commission action is whatever sort of comment or description that the carrier puts on that row in the statement. It could be a ton of different things, right? New enrollment, new base, override, HRA, renewal, appointment fees, right? A ton of different messages or notes that they might put in here. Statement link, if you're looking at any row and you want to see the original statement that row comes from, you click on that row's statement link and it'll pop open the original file, just in case you need to double check something. The last column here is classification. So ComTrack will classify each row into one of 5 categories. It's going to be advance, renewal, chargeback, HRA, and fee. Right? Advance, renewal, chargeback, HRA, and fee. And we have a bunch of algorithms running on the back end to properly classify. We take into account the commission action, the commission amount, the carrier. We have a bunch of other rules as well. So for example, these guys say renewal, they're $25. We have them classified as renewal, right? That was pretty easy. These guys say new enrollment, new, base, a couple $100. We have them classified as advance, right? These ones say chargeback, new chargeback. We have them classified as chargeback because the dollar amount, is negative, right? Chargeback, dollar amount's negative. We have them classified as chargeback. On these guys, these are a little tricky because they say renewal commissions, first year commissions, but we have them classified as chargeback. Well, why is that? It's because the dollar amount is negative. So even if the carrier doesn't properly notate a row, we have a bunch of fail safes in place to properly classify each row. And the whole reason that we do classification is to help us with our dashboard. So I'll talk more about the dashboard when we get there. But the dashboard is what you would imagine it to be. It'll show you a visual overview of your business. And it's like a graphical visual of all the data in the all-time tab. But the cool part is that it allows you to filter by classification. So if I ever want to look at all of my advances, basically all of my new sales, I click on advance, and now it filters and updates and shows us advances. If I just want to look at all my renewals, I can do the same thing. It'll just show me my monthly renewals coming in on a month-by-month basis, right? It's also, classification is also the driver behind our important KPIs or important metrics. So you have chargeback ratio, net sales, and net apps. I'll talk more about what these are and how they're calculated, but classification is the driver behind these 3. All right. Before I hop off of the all-time tab, does anybody have any questions so far? And if there's none, I'm going to assume silence is good and you all understand. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, cool. All right, so on any column here, you can always hide a column in case you don't need to look at it. Right click and hit hide. And we give you a lot of data, and there's going to be some scrolling back and forth. So we created this little shortcut where you can just hit this little green icon, and it's going to hide all of your non-essential columns so that you're just looking at what's most important in front of you, right? Effective date, commission, classification. So little tidbit there. Okay, so going back to settings, this is kind of our home base. When we hit digest, ComTrack did two things. It took all the data from the statements and it placed it on the all-time tab, which we just looked at. The second thing that it did was it created what we call agent carrier pairs, and it listed them here. So this is a list of each agent with each carrier that you have commissions with. So if you're an individual agent here, it's really just going to be your name repeated over and over again. But if you have another agent show up in your commission statements, whether they be an LOA to you or a downline that you might receive overrides on, they will show up in this as well. So any agent with any carrier that they have commissions with showing up on your statements, right? So we can see that Bruce Wayne has commissions with SignaMed Advantage and Central Health Plan. Evan McGuffey has commissions with all these carriers. Wayne Bruce, different guy, he's only got Humana PDP. And Mutual of Omaha is weird because they don't put the agent's name on the statement. They do put the writing number on the statement, but not the agent's name. We have a way of putting in the agent's name using the writing number, but right off the bat, it says agent name not given. Okay. Now, for a carrier like United Healthcare or any carrier that offers multiple products, we will actually separate them out by product. So, for example, United Healthcare Med Advantage in ComTrack is technically a separate carrier from United Healthcare ACA, PDP, and MedSup. All right. And the reason that we do that is because we know that you get paid differently on these different products, despite it all being with United Healthcare. So what this agent carrier grid allows us to do is tell ComTrack how much we're supposed to get paid, and then ComTrack can tell us if we got paid the correct amount, or more importantly, if we got underpaid. So we can say that, for example, when Bruce Wayne writes SignaMed Advantage, under this reconcile section, we can say that advances are supposed to be 306 in January. All right, that's what the full year is if I write it during AEP. That's what it was last year, but this year it's 313, but I'm working with last year's data, so just work. So I'm going to put in 306. On renewals, the monthly value that we get is 2550, right? That's what it was last year. So when Bruce Wayne writes SignaMed Advantage, I'm going to expect 306 if it's a new piece of business, or 2550 if it's on the second year, right? If it's a renewal. Now, the thing is, what about if Bruce Wayne writes SignaMed Advantage in April or any part of the year? Are we going to expect 306? The correct answer would be no. We want to expect the prorated amount. So under advanced prorate, we can click this and choose yes or no. If we choose yes, then ComTrack's going to look at the 306. Then it's going to look at the effective date, and then it's going to calculate the proper expected commission. All right, because that happens with Med Advantage. But it may not happen with MedSup, so you would just leave it blank in that case, right? So I'm just going to drag down. And the nice thing is that you can just drag and copy it over and over again instead of having to click and fill it out each time. And then I'm being heavy-handed with it just for this demo, but on ACA, I'm not advanced anything, so I'm going to take this out. I'm going to take out the 306. I'm just going to modify it and say that my renewal values for ACA are $20. On PDP, I'm not paid 306 on PDP. I think I'm paid like $80. I barely write any of them, so I think it's 80. I get like $6 a month in here. On MedSup, I don't have an advanced prorate. And on MedSup, I'm not paid a dollar amount, I'm paid a percentage. So I change it from dollar amount to percent. And then under advanced value, I can put in my percent, just say 20%. And under renewal value, under renewal type, I'll choose percentage again. And then I could put in the same 20 again, or if I want to put in a different value on renewals, I can do that. And then the last guy here is, what about if I'm only advanced 9 months at a time? Then you can put in months and you can select the number of months, or you can simply just type it in. Let's just say 9 months and bam. So I'm paid 20% on new sales, but not 12-month advance. I'm getting a 9-month advance here. And then after the first year, I'm getting 16%. Right. So this reconcile section will take a little bit of time to set up. It may take you 20, 30 minutes. But the cool part is that you only have to set it up once, really just once a year. If you get promotions or when they pay us more next year for Med Advantage, then you'll have to come in here and adjust it. But you only have to set it up once and then you're cooking. All right. So once you set this up, you hit reconcile. And what ComTrack does is it calculates the expected commissions for you. You hit OK. And now, next to commission, we have expected com and reconcile, and they're all filled out, right? At the top, this is quite obvious. I got overpaid on all of these. Okay, and they're just examples. It's because what I put in was not accurate. I was being heavy-handed with it. I got overpaid on all these. On these guys, I got paid the correct amount, right? I received $25.50. I expected $25.50. My reconcile amount was 0, right? It was right on the money. This guy here is an example of the prorate working. So we put in 306, but then we said we're prorated the calendar amount. So instead of it placing in 306, it placed in 178.49. We got paid 178.50. It rounded to the nearest hundredth, so to the nearest penny. We got overpaid by a penny. That's all good. It pretty much nailed it. All right. Now, this is great, but the more important one is this, okay? So getting underpaid is more important. Finding out that we got underpaid is more important than finding out that we got overpaid, because that's great. We don't complain about getting overpaid. But on these, I got paid an amount that was less than my expected commission, so my reconcile amount is going to be negative for whatever reason. All right, I got to go investigate this. I got to see if it's correct. Maybe I have to adjust something, in here. But if I really feel like I got underpaid, then I'm going to hit up the carrier or even hit up AEG for a little bit of help. But more importantly, hit up the carrier and see what the hell's going on and see if you can get your full payment on that. All right. I'm going to pause. You guys might have some questions. I don't see any so far, which means that we're rocking and rolling. And if I don't hear anything in the next 10
Hey,
seconds.
it's Brian. I did have a quick question for you. Is the platform able to have multiple payees on a single policy if there's a situation where a manager or there's other payees involved on the policy level?
Yes, I'm showing you guys the agent version of ComTrack.
Okay.
We do have a separate version of ComTrack that's built for medium to small agencies.
Perfect.
And that allows you guys to calculate payroll for LOAs or managers.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you.
We can go over that separately.
I had a quick question. This is amazing, by the way. But
thanks.
and you may have covered this. So when you set that all up and you're basically making a payee schedule, so I would say it's probably a little bit heavier setup on the front end, and then it's a little bit more automated.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
that's what it'll take a little bit of time setting it up. But once you have it set up, you're going to be cooking.
Okay. Thank you.
And frankly, some of our users don't even bother with this, just because they've never had an issue with getting underpaid. I recommend everybody just takes it for a test run and uses it to some degree. But if you want to skip this and you just want to get started, if you didn't have any of this filled out, the rest of ComTrack would work. This isn't like a mandatory thing that you have to fill out. It's just an auxiliary tool. The rest of the stuff that I'm going to show you is going to work perfectly fine if you don't have reconcile filled out. So this next button is really awesome, and it doesn't require any setup. And you just click it. All right, so split months, missing renewals. You just click this guy. And what we're missing renewals are, the reason that they're tricky is because they don't trigger a chargeback. So when you're getting paid as earned on somebody and they fall off the books, doesn't trigger a chargeback. We like to say that it falls off silently, right? So the only way to look and realize that is to look at last month's statement, this month's statement, and then see who's not there anymore. And to do that by hand is a pain in the butt. Do that across all your carriers every month, it's a lot of work. But because we have all the data aggregated and normalized inside of ComTrack, we can achieve it with just one click. So you click it, you hit OK. And now what ComTrack did was it created individual months tabs at the bottom. So we have August, July, June, any month that you have commissions in, it's going to show it here. Now, if I'm inside June, it's the same exact format as before. On the all-time tab, it's just showing me data for June, right? Now, if I scroll down to the bottom of this section, or I click the handy down arrow, it'll scroll down to the bottom for me, and it'll show me my missing renewals. And by definition, these are renewals that were present in the month prior, but not this month. The month prior being May, this month being June. So these people all renewed in May, but for whatever reason, they didn't renew this month. So essentially they fell off. And I got 4 clients here. Now they all happen to be with United Healthcare, and United Healthcare gives us the term reason, which is very nice, right? They kind of spoil us in that way. This guy died, this guy moved, this guy got flipped, this guy got flipped, right? Most carriers won't give that to you. So at this point, you got to figure out what the hell happened to that client. Did they die? Did they move? Did they get flipped? Did you flip them? Right? Stuff like that. It'll be blank here. So you'll have this missing renewal section for each month. If I go into May and I go down to the bottom of May, I can see my missing renewals for the bottom of May. All right. Make sense, everybody? Cool.
Yes, sir.
Cool. And the other cool part is ComTrack will digest any statements that you give it. So we have users that ask, well, can I go back to the beginning of 2025? Hell yeah, you can go back to the beginning of 2025. You can, whatever statements that you give ComTrack, it'll eat. So like we had a user go back to 2019. I don't recommend doing that, but you can give it all your statements all the way back to 2019 and see everybody that fell off the books on a month-by-month basis that way. Maybe you want to do it for 2024, but definitely do it for all of 2025, right? So we covered reconcile, we covered split months missing renewals, but then the big question here that you guys should be asking is, what if I never got paid in the first place? If you never got paid in the first place, then reconcile ain't gonna help you and missing renewals ain't gonna help you because they're not showing up at all. So we have a feature for that, and it's called reference, all right? And what this is designed to do is cross-reference a list of names, be it applications that you've written against commissions that you've received inside a ComTrack, right? So if you have a list of applications that you wrote from the past month, you can paste it in here, and I'll do that in a second. But you could grab any list of names, right? It could come from Sunfire, it could come from Connecture, it could come from a carrier portal, your CRM, another spreadsheet, a notebook on your computer. You just paste in a list of names and ComTrack will try to find commissions. So I'm going to be lazy, all right, and just grab some names from over here. But just imagine I'm grabbing this from, say, my Sunfire account. I come into reference and I paste them here. And I'm just going to add in good old John Smith. So ComTrack's trying to find commissions for each one of these people. And for Chloe, found it, right? Match, 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 duh. Well, this guy, John Smith, for whatever reason, I have him on my list and I enrolled him last month in March, and just hypothetically, and we don't have any commissions for John Smith, okay? So it'll show no match. At that point, maybe it's just that the carrier hasn't paid me yet, right? Sometimes there are month-end arrears, that happens. But if it's been a couple months and you still haven't received a commission for John Smith, then at that point, it's going to be like, well, what the hell happened? Was I not the last app to win during AAP? Or did it not get approved? Or did the client sign up with somebody else? Or, you know, could they not validate the Medicaid info and they couldn't approve? Like, there's a bunch of reasons why something might not go into effect. But for whatever it is, at least you know, and you can go and investigate it. All right. This is reference. Any comments, questions about reference?
Evan, so it looks like, so there's some other data points there that would cross-reference, the policy number being one of them. If you have a list of policy numbers, it would do the same thing.
Yep. So if you have like 2 John Smiths, the only one of these that's required is client full name.
Okay.
So what Brian is asking is, okay, what about these other parameters? Okay, you can also cross-reference using the agent's name. You can cross-reference using the carrier. You have to have at least the client's full name. You could also have policy number and date. So where this would come into play is like, let's say you had like 2 or 3 John Smiths. You could say one is with Humana, one's with Cigna, one's with Omaha, just for example, right? You could do it this way. Or you could also put in their policy number, you know, kind of like that, if they have multiple policies. So you can use these additional parameters to search. Yep, great question. All right. Let's go over your dashboard. So your dashboard, like I mentioned before, it is what you think it would be. You know, it's a visual overview of your business. You're going to have this commission graph and account graph. Commissions is simply showing you your dollars coming in on a month-by-month basis. Your count graph is showing you the number of commissions or the number of rows that you've received for that month. Now you have a timeline up here. You can click on any month and it's going to filter accordingly, right? So click on a month. Now you're only looking at that month. If you want to look at a period of time, you just click and drag and ComTrack will update accordingly. I'm going to hit clear all filters so it resets. We have agent name. So if you have multiple agents, you can click on their name and filter that way. You can filter by carrier or multiple carriers. So if you click on, let's just say Cigna Med Advantage, it's going to filter and only show me stuff for Cigna Med Advantage. For line, if you want to filter between life and health, you can do that. And by subline, so if you want to look at just your Med Advantage versus just your Med Sup policies or just your ACA commissions, so on and so forth. With ancillaries, sometimes we break it down beyond just ancillary into like cancer, dental, DVH, hospital, that sort of thing. All right. And then, like I mentioned in the beginning, you have classification, so you can also filter using classification. Now, metrics is super handy because it's going to show your main KPIs for each one of your agents and for the agency as a whole if you're an agency. So you have a list of each agent here on the left-hand side, and in the total, imagine that to be your agency. You have classification dollar amount, which is showing total revenue coming in on an agent by agent basis, and then the agency as a whole. Distribution is just saying that Bruce Wayne makes up 10% of all sales. This agent makes up 2% of all sales. This agent makes up 87% of all sales. You have advanced dollars and chargeback dollars. You have chargeback ratio, very interesting to see on an agent by agent basis, and then for the agency as a whole. You have net sales and net apps. Net sales is showing you all of your advanced dollars minus chargeback dollars. So this is basically all the sales that you guys made that did not charge back. Versus net apps. Net apps are showing the number of sales that you made that did not charge back. All right. So these guys here are the true production metrics, and you really want to be careful with these, because if somebody says online, oh, I wrote 40 apps this week, it's like, I don't care. I want to see your net sales and your net apps, because that's what really matters, right? This is really what we're getting paid. We're going to be adding in some other KPIs and cool features into the dashboard in the next couple months, like a heat map of the US, and you can see what states you have the most business in, some pie charts, stuff like that. But for right now, this works really well for our agents and agencies. I saw before there's something in the chat. Where the hell did where did it go when I need it? It's in the way. Is it possible to filter by multiple filters at once? Hell yeah. So if I want to go like Evan McGuffey, and I also want to do Cigna Med Advantage, and I also just want to do my renewals. So this is basically showing me Evan McGuffey with Cigna Med Advantage renewals. Yep. You could use as many filters as you want at the same time. And if I just want to look at April, I just click on April. All right. I'm going to hit clear. That is ComTrack in a nutshell. There's one other feature here. It's called webhooks. It's a little advanced, and it would take me too much time to like explain it like A to Z, but basically just know that you can send all of your data inside of ComTrack to a CRM or Zapier or another platform of your choice. So you have that ability as well, and we can help you do that when the time comes. All right.
Evan, this is Brian. You kind of read my mind on that right there. Of course, that's more of a techie thing right there, but I think where this product and solution shines is that it is not specific to any one CRM. Everybody is using something different. Lots of agents use Agency Block, but there are there's a whole slew of platforms that anybody could be using, especially if you're a new agent, you're probably using something a little more economical, doesn't have that feature built into it. So this way it's just kind of agnostic to whatever CRM you're using.
Correct. Yep. Exactly. That's exactly right. Yep.
A couple other questions that I had, and this might be for the other product. So we do work with agencies that have LOAs, and sometimes the payee schedule is not based on a percentage. Would it accommodate like a PM flat fee, or take into account like bonuses or anything like that, or is that might be something you guys are working on?
Yeah, it does. You can do it percentage based or dollar amount based. So just a flat dollar amount per app. And you can also calculate bonuses as well.
Perfect.
More than happy.
Are there any direct integrations with any CRMs right now outside of using the webhooks, or is that kind of the pathway that you guys are looking to stay on with integrations?
We're going to be doing integrations, I guess you could say like more streamlined in the next couple months.
Perfect.
With webhooks, it doesn't take that much time to set up if you know what you're doing. And you know, myself or an account executive can help you set it up. It could take max like 5 minutes, but yeah, I mean, we're looking at some like just one-click setups where if it's like Agency Block, it's like a one-click, you just connect your account, Go High Level, one-click, connect your account, Salesforce, HubSpot, just like one-click ones, rather than doing it just raw webhooks.
Could you kind of maybe paint us a picture of what that type of integration would look like? Is this essentially pushing the data to like a note section, or what does that actually look like?
Yeah, so with webhooks, I'll give you an example. I gotta unshare my screen just because give me 1 minute.
Sure.
Let me just pull it up. I'll pull up my CRM and I'll show you how I have it set up. 1 second here. Brian, do you have a CRM that you use?
Yeah, I mean, right now we use Agency Block, but then we also use GHL on the FMO side. And we're actually in the process of building out something custom right now, which is something we probably should discuss with you as far as maybe building out a direct integration there.
Yeah, totally. So I love GHL. It's wonderful. And that's what I'm going to show you here. You can also do it inside. I think you can do it inside of Agency Block. But frankly, Agency Block isn't too interested in integrating with ComTrack because we're a direct competitor to their commission module. So there's that. There's always a little bit of politics, but inside Go High Level, this is what it's going to look like. And the same kind of principle applies to Salesforce, HubSpot, custom built CRM. So you hit add new trigger. You choose inbound webhook right here. All right. It's going to provide you a URL. Think of this as like an address. And you just copy that. And then inside of ComTrack, you just scroll a little bit to the right. And under webhooks, you could put in any sort of nickname. So I'm just going to say like my CRM. You could call it whatever you want. And then you just paste in that webhook URL. And bam, you're all set, right? Now, when you click webhooks, you can choose where you want to send it. You can send it to multiple places at the same time, but I'm just going to click my CRM and I'm going to hit send. And for Go High Level, you have to send it one by one. What ComTrack's going to do is it's going to take the data from the all time tab and it's going to send each row as an inbound webhook into Go High Level. So I'm just going to hit send one by one. All right, and it's starting to send. So inside of here, I can hit fetch sample requests and like it's sending like a row every like 10 rows a second or something. So there's like a ton of these that are getting put in, right? But if I click on any of them, you can now see that all of the data from ComTrack in that all-time tab is now being sent into Go High Level. So like each one of these parameters is a column header inside of, I don't need to. Excuse me. You have like agent name, carrier, agent ID, agent NPN, statement date, like so on and so forth. All of those parameters are now in Go High Level. So agent name, carrier, agent ID, agent NPN, so on and so forth, right? So I can hit save trigger. And then from there, it just depends on what you want to achieve, right? You can create a contact, you can update a contact, you can update custom fields. A real world example of that would be, sending the data from ComTrack into your CRM, finding the person inside your CRM, and then updating their policy number on file, or updating the carrier, or updating the most recent commission received, for example, something like that.
Got it. That totally makes sense, and obviously a little out of the scope of this purpose here, but it's good to know that that is available. Another question that just kind of popped in my head is, would there be any limitations, or have you worked with any clients that are more on the PNC side or the group side of the business?
That's a great question. So for group, we just started adding group in February, and we do have some group carriers. We can handle group. We just, if there's a carrier that we don't have, we can always get it added. PNC, we haven't delved into, not because I'm not willing, it's just because it hasn't been requested yet. So.
And that's would probably be more of an LOA model anyway, because there's really no FMOs, and usually agents don't get paid directly by the carriers. So I would assume that if they were using that version, that it would probably work just fine.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you use an agent links for PNC, this is basically, from what I understand, it's kind of like the equivalent in the life and health realm.
Beautiful. You've put so much time and thought into this. I'm very impressed with what you've created here. I think there's a lot of agents out there that are using competitors, and I think we all know who those are. They got a decent product, but it is a little rigid and not very flexible or as flexible as what you've created here. So I'm super stoked that you've kind of filled this void in the industry, and yeah, I'm really excited to see what the roadmap looks like over the next couple of years with your guys' company.
Yeah, we're doing some cool stuff, working on some really cool stuff, which I'm more than happy to share with you. One last thing for everybody, okay? The homework that you have to do with ComTrack is just downloading your statements from the carrier portals. We actually have a feature that'll do that for you, okay? And so that's on our, and I can talk about, this is probably a good segue to talk about pricing.
Yeah.
So we have two versions of ComTrack. We have agent and agency. I showed everybody the agent version today. If you want a one-on-one demo about agency, just come in here and hit book demo, and myself and our account executive will hop on with you and show you A to Z, soup to nuts. But with agent, you have unlimited carriers, unlimited clients, unlimited agents, really, in the agent version that I showed you here. So just know that we're never going to charge you more as you grow, or if you have higher volume. I think that's ridiculous. All right. Now, everybody gets a 7-day free trial by default. If anybody on this call needs more time, or you want me to extend your free trial, we will do it. No questions asked. I just want you to be happy with your trial. If you need a couple weeks or a month, just let me know, and we will do that for you. No big deal. Also, if we're in your business and ever want to go annual, then you can save 20%, which is the equivalent of 2.5 months, and drop it down 20 cents to 55 a month. All right. Now, beyond that, we also have this additional add-on. Okay, it's optional, called full service. And in full service, we can handle any of the kind of manual work that you have to do as an agent or an agency owner. The biggest and probably most relevant one to this call is going to be retrieve, where we will automatically go into your carrier portals, grab your statements for you, and throw them into your ComTrack account for you, so that all you have to do is log in and you have all of your data right in front of you. It's all done. So you just have to log in and everything's done. We can also handle your reconcile, right? So just give us your schedules and we'll go in and we'll calculate all of your underpaid. And reference, we can go cross-reference your CRM, Sunfire, Connecture, Health Sherpa, whatever it might be. So just know that these are available to somebody if they don't want to do it themselves.
So you're saying for $250, was that a month? Our agents can hire somebody to track and do all their commissions for them by working with you?
I don't,
Eric,
are you?
that's an add-on. So the base price is 256, and then if you want to hire them, that is an additional charge, which is a bargain compared to paying somebody and training somebody to do that.
That's what I was trying to get at. That's amazing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Evan, what is the process for adding new carriers if they're not on your list?
If they're on our list, you just come up here. So if you're checking out our list, you can always hit requested here, like don't see one that you need, just hit requested here, or just come in under carrier request. And it's gonna fill, there's a form where you just, fill it out, upload one of the statements, tell us what the carrier it is, any additional information, and we'll get it added. And just so everybody knows, we add about 5 to 10 a week. That's how we've gotten to 180. So that 180 is going to grow. And if there's any small or regional carriers that we currently don't have, just fill this out and we'll get it added for you. It'll probably take us 1 to 2 business days to do that.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Did we answer the question in the chat about, are you able to grab submitted apps through Health Sherpa?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, I see that now. Yep, totally. Good deal. Well, if anybody needs me, all right, I'm actually going to throw my email in the chat. And again, if you want to book a demo, just come here. And if you want to email me directly, that's also in the chat.
Awesome, Evan. This has been wonderful. I know how much work you've put into this and how many variables there are. So thank you for taking this project on, because I think the industry has been looking for something like this for quite some time at a price point that you guys have it at. I think it's a no-brainer for anybody that's looking for an alternative solution, or if you haven't already implemented something, I think this should be at the top of your list as a contender.
Well, thanks. Thanks. We got some other really, really, really cool stuff coming as well. So appreciate it.
Excellent. Well, thanks a lot, everybody. I believe the webinar is recorded and we should have that out later today. So with that being said, Evan, thanks again for everything and your continued partnership. Always love the creative solutions that you're bringing into the industry. So look forward to seeing how this evolves over time. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Nice to meet everybody. You guys have a great day. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.